If you're looking for a post-run stretching exercise routine designed to give you more flexibility, greater range of motion in your lower body, your legs, but also your shoulders that often get locked up from so much running, this video is for you. Hi, my name is Lucas. I'm a yoga teacher and trainer. I'm also a casual but committed runner. I run about 5 days per week, and this sequence is designed to affect change in terms of your range of motion. These are long, slow, deep practices that should be done after, not before you run. There's a common myth that stretching prevents injuries. It's not exactly that simple. When we do stretching exercises like we'll do today, designed to increase your range of motion, we're aiming to fix imbalances and also improve your posture. And it's possible that if you do that, and then you integrate those changes into better running biomechanics, that could help you from getting injured. But please keep in mind, this doesn't happen overnight, and it's really helpful once you make some changes, increase your range, if you work with a running coach so that you can analyze your stride rate, the way you strike the ground, and also your posture while you're running. This is a way that you could really make some long-lasting changes. Keep in mind, for about a 2 to 3 hour window after these deep stretches, you'll have less power in your muscles and noticeable laxity, specifically in your knees, so you wouldn't want to be running. You could do this right after your run, but most people like to do this right before bed because it makes you sleepy and it's the easiest time to get it done. Before we get started, remember to hit subscribe down below so you get notified when new videos come out. And if you'd like a PDF guide to all the poses we'll cover today, just hit that link down in the description below. Let's get started. Our first pose will focus on our hamstrings. You need a wall and a stool. It's called a wall doll. Let me show you how it works. Step next to the wall, one of your feet distance away from the wall. Position your feet as wide as your hips with your outer edges parallel. Hinge at your hips until your bum hits the wall. Notice my knees are slightly bent here. I'll start my timer. You can bend your knees more or less. Put a stool or a chair in front of you to brace with your arms. This helps to give support to your lower back. Drop your head, and we'll breathe here. With the science of stretching, this is our approach to increasing range of motion. There are just 3 principles. The first principle is called wet noodle, and this principle teaches us that our muscles, in this case your 3 hamstring muscles, will stretch best when they're fully relaxed. So I'd like you to do your best to relax here. Principle number 2 is a breathing technique called breathe to relax. Here's how it works. In through your nose to the count of 4. Out through your mouth with a ha sound to the count of 8. Carry on with that breathing pattern. Principle number 3, I'm taking care of for us here with my watch, and it's time under passive tension. When we're trying to change our range of motion, we need to spend at least 2 minutes in a pose in order to stimulate this process of increasing flexibility, which is a twofold process. The first process is just training our existing range of motion to express itself. So our existing potential for flexibility, that happens pretty quickly. You'll feel it by the end of our stretch here today. The second process is called sarcomerogenesis, and this can take longer, but it doesn't happen with short hold poses. We need to be passively in a pose for at least 2 minutes. Head and neck are relaxed. Breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, 4-8 breathing. And we'll hold here just for a few more seconds. Good. Slowly make your way all the way back up to stand, and you can shake that out. For our next pose, we'll focus on our calf muscles. Down here at the bottom, just above your Achilles, is your soleus, and then up above is your gastrocnemius. Your gastroc crosses your knee joint, so we need a straight leg to target that. Your soleus is best targeted with a slightly bent knee, so we'll do both. 1 minute with a straight leg, 1 minute slightly bent. I'll start off with my hands and fists and my thumbs out. Step my right leg back behind me. Now, in this case, I'm doing it barefoot. You can do it with shoes, but I like the proprioception of feeling your feet against the ground. And I recommend, at least at first, to do this with your heel down. Let me start our timer, and I'll explain why. When your heel is lifted, like this or off the edge of a stair, the challenge is that you can overly stress your Achilles tendon and or your plantar fascia, both of which are pretty common running injuries. I find that you can work around that and avoid that simply by keeping your heel flat on the floor. Now, it is a little more challenging to get the intensity you need, but if you really lighten up on the front foot, notice how I'm up on my toes or maybe on the edge of my foot, and drive the weight back, you can usually get your calf to about a 7 or ideally 8 out of 10 intensity. Typically with Science of Stretching, we aim for 7 of 10. Your calf muscles are the exception. We really try to slam them with an 8 out of 10 intensity, if at all possible. So with our straight leg, we're trying to feel the stretch more up into the gastrocnemius, that bulbous top part of your calf muscle that crosses the knee joint. As we move into the second minute of the stretch, where we are now here, I'd like you to bend your knee just slightly, and you'll have to stick your butt out and wiggle to find this stretch, but you'll feel the intensity moving down lower in your calf muscle. Oftentimes, once you bend your knee, it almost feels like the stretch goes away, but if you continue to wiggle and push your hips backwards, you'll again find that deep stretch just lower in your soleus muscle. Your calf muscles in general are incredibly strong and resilient, and they take a beating every time you run. This is why we really need to blast them with strong intensity and enough time in the pose. Let's inhale through our nose to the count of 4. And exhale for 8. Good. Release your leg and shake it out. We'll switch. Your left leg goes back. Again, my hands into fists with my thumbs forward. Put them on a wall. I'm using this odd mirrored wall, but of course you could use any wall indoors or outdoors that you might have. I'll lunge my right leg forward, my left leg back. First minute, my leg is all the way straight. You should feel a very intense stretch up high here in your gastrocnemius. Drive the weight back into your heel. Gaze is straight ahead, and we'll get right into our breathing. In through your nose for the count of 4. Out through your mouth for 8. We're looking for 7 or even 8 out of 10 intensity. So if you feel those calves screaming at you, you're doing it correctly. As we move into the final minute, bend your knee ever so slightly. Now again, you'll feel the stretch feels like it disappears, but as you wiggle, as you stick your bum backwards, you'll be able to find that stretch a little bit lower in your calf muscle, down into your soleus. Keep wiggling and pressing into your heel until, there we go, we find it, and then we hang here and breathe. What this breathing does, by the way, nose to mouth, 4-8 breathing, is it helps to dampen down your stretch reflex. It's called your myotatic reflex. And this is essentially a protective mechanism where your body gets worried that you're going too far or too fast with your stretches. And it fights you in your stretches. You've certainly felt that before. This breathing practice essentially soothes your nervous system and allows you to go deeper in poses when you're safe here like we are today. Good. All the way back up. Release and shake it out. We'll now switch and do a pose for our shoulders. I find that most runners, because of their running posture with their arms, get really tight and locked up in their shoulders, and eventually you'll even see older runners start to do a little crisscross motion like this, whereas we'd like to have our shoulders open. The range we're working on is called shoulder flexion. Here's how it works. I've got a stool. The pose is called wide dog. I'll step my feet about twice as wide as my mat, so my feet are over 1 meter wide. Place my hands on the stool, and now I'll adjust and wiggle and find a place where I can sink down, sink down, sink down, and relax. If you need to bend your knees a little bit, no problem at all. If you need to walk your feet backwards more or more forward, also no problem at all. But I'd like you to feel about 80% of the intensity in your upper body, not in your lower body. This shoulder flexion range is stretching our lats, our teres major, a little bit of our pecs, and also one of your 4 rotator cuff muscles, your subscapularis. With your head and neck just relaxed completely, and let's get back to our breath. In through your nose to the count of 4. Out through your mouth for 8. Good, and slowly make your way all the way back up. That was 2 minutes. Let's shake it out. For our final pose, you might need a couple of blocks here. I'll drop down onto my knees. My knees are together, and I'll sit down on a couple of blocks between my feet. Place your hands on top of your legs and pause here, and let's see how this feels. Let me turn to face you. Your knees don't need to be all the way together, but do your best to have them approach each other. If they can touch, that's great, but we don't want to use muscular energy to be there. If you only need 1 block, we could drop down to 1 block. If you don't need any blocks, we could drop down to no blocks and hang here. This is a great quadricep stretch. It's also a great plantar flexion stretch of your ankles. As an added bonus, when we did that runner's lunge stretch for our calves, we also worked on our dorsiflexion of our ankles. Here in this pose, this lightning bolt pose, we're working the opposite range, so plantar flexion of our ankles. So we've got our ankles, but we're predominantly working on our quadriceps here, which for many of us, if we're quad dominant or hamstring dominant, it's either one or the other, or for some of us both, that get really tight. For me, it's always the quads. So this is an essential pose anytime I run, and I really try to make a point to do it every single day. Once you find the place where you're at today, maybe you adjust it a little bit, fidget a little bit. Again, my knees are together-ish. Place your hands down, close your eyes, and let's get back to our breath. In through your nose for 4. Out through your mouth for 8. And that's it, we're done. It's 4 poses, should take you around about 10 minutes. Let me ease my way out of this pose. If you feel any tension, you can always punch below and above the joint. Give yourself a break, and remember you have a 2 to 3 hour window here where you'll feel a little weak, a little wobbly, but it's all in service of greater range of motion. With stretching exercises, remember that consistency is the key. So whereas with strength or even with aerobic training, having days off here and there is often advised, with stretching, if at all possible, if you can just keep going little by little, day by day, that's where you'll get the best results. Remember to hit subscribe down below so you can get access to future videos. Go back and check out some of my previous pre-run videos, as well as other targeted stretching exercises that might be useful. You can always find my teaching calendar at yogabody.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.